This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV. We're at Cloud Expo East in New York in the year 2015, and we're joined by Arvind Rangarajan with BroadSoft. And earlier today, we were on a panel, and we were going to talk about cloud computing. We ended up talking about Internet of Things. So we'll see now what we're going to end up talking about, because we don't have the other panelists to compete with you.
Sure.
So Arvind, thank you much for joining us.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the company and what you do.
Sure. BroadSoft is, we provide cloud-based unified communication services. We've been in the business for quite some time now.
Yeah.
We are providing this with, the 19 of the top 25, service providers around the world, and 600 more providers around the globe. And we provide, unified communications and collaboration. We have two different flavors. We have what we call the BroadWorks platform, and then the Broad Cloud platform, which is basically something that the unified communication that we offer from the cloud. It's a service that's white labeled and can be used by operators the likes of AT&T and Verizon and Sprint in US, and in the companies like Gamma and other companies in the UK. And so we work with all of these providers, and the reason we are here is, this particular event has some unique, kind of topics, and I was here for a WebRTC speaking slot this morning, and then I was also part of the panel. I enjoyed both these sessions, and I think the panel was interesting because we talked about cloud. Yeah. The other panelists had, sort of more cloud-related kind of, things to add, and I was looking at it from the UC as a service, so it was more from a SaaS play and how we offer it, and it's just telecommunications as a service.
And the unified communications, you talked a little bit about BYOD today, which is almost a quaint term in a way, but it's still, companies now are providing their own devices, but the sort of chaos with BYOD is not going away, I don't think.
Absolutely.
And how do you address that? And then maybe we can kind of slide in the Internet of Things, which makes those Ds much more complicated.
Yeah. So with what's happening with the apps that you mentioned, and BYOD is making the whole delineation between the personal side and the business side sort of blur. You have all these employees now that they bring their own devices, and they are starting to consume services that are available from the cloud that are not services that are managed by the IT in the enterprise side. So this is sort of growing as we speak in the number of devices and the number of apps that are growing, and this is causing almost like a shadow IT phenomenon where you need to worry about when you're bringing these devices are in and they have these apps that they're using and they're consuming. Are they secure enough? Are they going to do anything to the enterprise environment? And there's so many things that they need to look at to make sure that we don't run into a situation where someone's using a device with an app and that doesn't,
Are you brought in after the shadow IT is already there, and then you have to? What kind of challenges does this present?
So in terms of how you manage these, how do you make sure that they're all secure? How do you ensure that there's no issues in terms of these different devices that are bringing different apps that they're using? All of that is a challenge for IT, and how do you manage it? So those are the key things that we worry about in terms of using these kind of apps from the cloud.
How are things going to get more complicated? I guess maybe complication is opportunity for BroadSoft, but how is it going to sort of evolve the next couple of years?
Yeah, so the way I see it is, today the cloud communications or cloud-based communications or cloud as anything to using it, cloud as a service is sort of like a transition that has happened already. Every company has some sort of a cloud play. Yeah. Now what I see more in the coming years and months is sort of like a transformation. Now you have all the foundation. Now what are you going to do? Use that, and how do you build new services using this cloud? Whether it's a private cloud or a public cloud or a hybrid of both or whatnot. And then how do you offer, you have all these different apps and other things that different companies are providing. How can you integrate? How can you provide a seamless experience for the end customer? And unified communications is sort of blends in with that.
So you got that pesky customer experience part, user experience part of it as well. How do people find your company? What's your URL?
It's www.broadsoft.com. So and we are out there.
Pretty simple, broadsoft.com. We've been joined for a precious few minutes here by Arvind Rangarajan with BroadSoft Unified Communications. This stuff is going to get more complicated as it goes on and more wonderful for that very reason. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckhoff.